This is more, again, bringing you part 3, and I decided to start part 3 by showing you a little something just to give you an idea of how far you can manipulate that black with the white dot to get different effects and to make different textures. So this, don't mind the title, I have managed to turn into this. And you can see here that I've got several different layers, and somehow I produced white PVC, which I have found, and I personally as well, was a little bit scared of. And it took me longer than it needed to create white PVC. And that has to do with these effects that I was talking about, and I'm going to go into now. So let's go back to our base PVC layers. This is it. This is our base texture. Now we can start really getting to work. So what I want to do with this, I want to go to a new file, and I want to call this PVC2. And I'm going to grab my preset, which is IMVU start, the way that we had talked about setting it, 512 by 512 on transparent. Click OK, and now that's brand new. So what do I want to do first? Take my base PVC, which I have here, and now I can take these two, and while clicking Shift, I am going to grab these and drop them, and they fall right in dead center. Now, in order to be organized, because I found that, sometimes people lack a little bit of organization when they're doing things like this. I'm the first person to actually lack organization when I'm doing this. I tend to just go and go and go and not pay any attention to having things in order. What I'm going to do is, with these two still selected, I'm going to go to Layer. And here, there's an option for group layers. And now I've created group 1. And in group 1, I've got Gradient Shine 1 and my base. So now that's nice and organized, and I don't have to worry too much about finding things that I need to find. Base is still over here. Now here I can convert it to a smart object. You'll notice there were no changes. I just convert that to a smart object, both of them. And now I rasterize, because I'm not planning on doing any more changes to my base, so I'm okay with just having it at that. But I'm going to rename this Base 2. Now, we want to start making some borders, so we're going to change the size of this image size, keeping it at 512. I'm going to start with a height of 32 and click OK. And before I do that, though, I want to just check something. Image size. I want to set that to bilinear. And now click OK. Why bilinear? Because if I set it to something else, there's a possibility that I'm going to get a little bit of transparency around the edges, and I don't want that. That can be problematic for me later. So here's PVC2, here's base PVC1, which is now this. Now I'm going to grab it. Clicking Shift, where you see a little plus sign on the arrow, I'm going to drop it. And what happens? It ends up being dropped in dead center. So what I'm going to do is move it up. And as you can see, there are two blue lines on the sides. Those are the guides that will help you keep this in alignment. So I drag it all the way up until I've got 3 blue lines, which indicate to me that it's straight. How do I see those? I go into View. I go into show, and I go into show the smart guides. The smart guides are definitely necessary when you're doing things like this. I wouldn't not have them. I just would need them so that I know that what I want is going exactly where I want and that everything is properly symmetrical. So here you have one. Now you want to duplicate that. Duplicate layer. And you can call it border 2. Okay. You can rename this border 1. Now you want to grab border 2, and you see now a blue line. It can be any color. I believe the default is yellow, and you just want to drag it down, keeping the middle line. If you get off, you're not going to see them anymore. And just go down, 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 down until you see the blue line on the bottom, and now you know that that's perfectly aligned. Okay, so let's say you want them all around. So you're going to grab the 2. You're going to duplicate both of them. And it's going to say to destination what? This document. Okay, so now you've got border 1 copy, border 2 copy. What do I want to do with that? I want to go to edit. I want to go to transform. And I want to go to rotate 90 degrees clockwise. And there you go. Now you have it on all 4 sides. Some people might consider this done. I personally would like to add a little bit more to this. So how do I do that? I go back here to my new strip, and I'm going to change the image size a little bit more. And I'm going to bring it down to 16. Keeping it in bilinear. Okay, so now I've got that a little bit thinner. Now I'm going to take it, and in the same way, clicking shift to get it in the middle, and bring it up to a comfortable point. Now I can stop here if I want to, or I can go a little bit further up. Now this is just a matter of taste. I personally, for now, am going to bring it up top. So you notice that you see that the whole thing is surrounded in that blue. You know that it's centered properly. You've got the middle line, the side lines, everything is centered straight. Okay, so I'm going to duplicate that one. And I'm going to bring that one down much in the same way that I brought the second one down before. Make sure that everything is outlined by our smart guide. And there, I can set it. So I'm going to take these 2, and I'm going to merge them. And now I'm going to duplicate them. And now I'm going to edit and transform and rotate 90 degrees clockwise. And now you have all 4 making a nicer border than the border that we had before. So now what I want to do is I've got the thinner borders. I'm going to merge them, and here these thicker borders, I'm going to merge them as well. How do I do that? Right click, merge layers for all. I'm going to keep this on normal, but I'm going to take the thinner ones and I'm going to change the mode to screen. So you see what happens, that black line that I had on normal, which I think is okay for certain things but can be unattractive for other things, goes away when I use screen or when I use lighten, which I think is a little better because it's a little bit less intense. So now we've got our border set, and we can probably use that to put on a piece of furniture as well. You can use just 2 lines if you want, many different things that you can do. Okay, so I'm going to go back here to my base PVC, and I'm going to step back a little bit, and if I wanted to, I can go here to my history tab, and I see all of the different things that I've done, and I can go just to there so that it's back to the size that it was before, like that. Now I can take that and change the image size. I'm going to change it, constrain proportions, so that I change the width and the height to be the same, to be 32 each. And we can go to best for reduction, the sharper. Okay, now it's really small. Now I'm going to grab that, and that goes on top of everything. And I'm going to use the Smart Guide to help me make sure that it's straight. So the first one will go there. I'll duplicate. Okay. I'll worry about naming them later. The Smart Guide, as you see in the middle, is helping me make sure that both of these are straight. Grab them both. Merge the layers again. Duplicate the layers again. Grab them. Make sure that you see that line in the middle. And then you see that line on the end. And they're symmetrical. And now you've got a bit of a better border. Now I'm going to go back into my image here. I'm going to step backward, or I'll Control Z. Now I'm going to go to image size, and I'm going to change this, unclicking constrain proportions. So now the width of this, I'm going to change to, say, 64 and 32, sorry. And the height of this, I'm going to change to 48. And I'm going to go for best reduction by cubic sharper. Okay, so now I've got a little bit of a rectangle thing going on. So I'm going to grab that and, much in the same way, bring it over until it's aligned. But I'm going to rotate it. So I'm going to go to Edit, Free Transform, and Rotate. And now I can grab this here at this side, and I want approximately 45 degrees. And you can change that here, negative 45, and click Enter. And now click on here, apply the transformations, yes. And now you've got that at 45 degrees. I'm going to take that though and bring that under the other. Why? Because I'm going to grab these here, merge them together, and I'm going to change the mode to screen. And you see what happens when you do that. You've got a little bit more of an interesting thing going on with your border. Just like that. So maybe I would like to do that again. So I'll duplicate that oval, and I'll grab that oval, which is still at 45 degrees, and I'll bring it over to the other side, like this. Making sure that it's aligned properly, and about there, which is quite lovely. And I see that this is not properly aligned, so I just want to move that a bit. There we go. And that's quite lovely as well. Okay, so that's giving it a little bit more character still. I'm going to grab those two. I'm going to merge them like I did before. I'm going to duplicate them like I did before. And what I'm going to do is go to Edit, Transform, and I'm going to flip horizontal. And there I have all four exactly the same. So that is going to be pretty good to put on a piece of furniture. I can take this even deeper still, which I would like to. I think I'm going to make one more part before I stop so that I can show you how I managed to arrive at something like this.